Welcome back to the 6K Sports Sedan Challenge presented by Continental Tire, where today we're finishing the Supercharger install. That's right, everyone. Exciting times ahead because our plan is to fire this thing up by the end of this episode and let you all hear the unique noises that a root-style blower is going to make. It's going to be very whiny, kind of like Pete will be once I whoop his butt with this car at the end of this build-off. But I'm getting ahead of myself, everyone. Before we reinstall the Supercharger, because you'll notice we pulled it out, and that's because we've got a few things that we need to tidy up in here, including replacing this heater core valve. Is that what you would call this, Pete?
I think so, yeah.
It lives up on the firewall up here. Ours was leaking, as you would have seen in previous episodes. As you can see, we've pinched off the hoses with these plastic, I guess they're designed specifically to pinch off rubber hoses, and they do a good job of it. So that'll hopefully prevent us from making a big mess. We've thrown this like baking sheet down to do the same. Going in with these hose style pliers and hoping I can crack this off here. You never know how stubborn these things are going to be, but well, actually that's moving pretty freely already. It might have been easier if it was still bolted. No, it's coming off. Okay.
Whoa, look at that. No coolant.
Yeah, wow.
Call me impressed.
Yeah, these are actually coming out surprisingly easy. I thought they were going to really be fighters, but
Wow, and there's
there it
no
is.
actual
No coolant there either.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Before we fully reinstall this valve, actually, we've decided we want to cut off the lower bracket on both of these hard lines because they kind of interfere with the top of the Supercharger, as you would have seen in the previous episode. So while these are out and easily accessed, we're going to cut these brackets off.
We're coming in here with the air saw just because we don't want to make a mess, and I think this is the most precise way to cut it. May take a while though.
Yeah. Just going to use the metal file to take the sharp edges off these two cuts, although they're really very clean. And for those of you who watched season 1 of Connie Celica, it's time for the Zydeco music. Well, here comes the big moves, everybody, starting with sealing this top plate, which is designed for the M112, to the bottom manifold adapter. And before I do that, I need to install a bunch of these guys, which the Supercharger is going to bolt to. So they go in these countersunk holes. But before I put them in there, I actually need to put some sealant on the top side of these. So to put the sealant on here, we are using this gasket dressing and sealant, and importantly, it's fuel resistant. This is what Travis from Violate specifies in his instructions. So we went out and grabbed some of this because we didn't actually have any of it handy. And I'm just going to put it on the bottom side of this taper seat on the bolt.
Well, you better make sure they're on well, because geez, if you have a leak, we wouldn't want you to lose any boost pressure.
No, I'm going to need every ounce of boost I can get, every PSI of boost I can get if I'm going to keep up with your N5. I admit, I'm still probably going to be at a horsepower deficit. I want to go on the inside of that bolt?
No.
I'm going to go on the outside of that bolt?
I would go on the outside.
So just go all the way around this surface. There is a diagram in Elate's instructions that shows it on this top mating surface, but it doesn't show it in.
And you can always go back and run it around after, but
True. This stuff's very thin, but it does sort of like thicken up, it seems, as it starts to.
it just doesn't look like regular silicone.
No.
It's an interesting color, and like the texture looks different. The way it lays down,
Yeah, it
it's
almost
very different.
kind of almost reminds me of like Loctite.
Yeah.
As you can see, that sealant's holding those bolts in there nicely, and I'm just going to very gently lower this down with the holes lined up as best I can. That's pretty good. Wow, I think I need to be a Supercharger technician, everybody, because that was precise. All right, so now we put the fasteners in here and torque it to 18 Newton meters or 13 foot-pounds. All right, that is the last fastener torque to spec, and now it's time to drop this on the motor and torque it down. Just torquing the last of the bolts here to 18 foot-pounds or 13 Newton meters as per Elate's instructions, and of course we've also put those new gaskets underneath here, so this is bolted down now, which means I think we can drop the Supercharger on there. So we've got the blower in place now, and I'm just installing these fuel rails, really just mocking them up, and you can see that I've used these Elate supplied spacers, which put the rail in the right position. And we want to do this now because we've got Aaron from Vibrant Performance dropping by momentarily to help us with that fuel line. So he's going to basically coach us through how to, build a proper fuel line for this bit of an unusual setup with that, double weird banjo setup that we showed you earlier. So yeah, let's get this bolted on here, and Aaron will be here. This, of course, is Aaron, everyone. You would have seen him in the great header build-off a couple of years ago when Aaron built that cool header for Art's BMW, and Jay built one for my Celica. But if you don't recognize him, he's the technical fabrication guy at Vibrant, basically, right?
Yep.
That's a very good description of his job title. I'm sure he's an official one, but in any case, he's also a longtime friend of ours. We used to be in a Honda club together. This is too much history for you guys. It doesn't matter. Why he's here is to help us solve this weird fuel line issue where, as we showed you previously, this is your feed line that comes into this unusual banjo arrangement where there's a line in and out that goes around the backside, and this part that goes around the backside fouls on the supercharger. And having talked with Aaron about how to solve this problem, you came up with, I think, a very clever solution.
Yeah, so it's got an inverted flare adapter on the end of the hose line, and we're just going to cut this actually off and then just weld this steel 6AN weld bung right to the end of that. And then we're going to have a single line come off to a Y split,
Yeah.
and then we're going to have one line go to each banjo individually.
Right, so we'll have a feed line that kind of goes all the way to one rail and another to the other rather than having this linked up system.
Exactly.
Very cool. Okay, well, this is going to require some welding, and it just so happens that Aaron is a very good welder, so we're going to put him to work while we got him here. Well, you made that look pretty easy. I feel a little silly now that we had to bring in a heavy hitter to do that for us, but it worked out really well, didn't it?
Yeah, it turned out really nice. I think using the Y was a nice touch to split that flow nice and even from each to each rail.
Yeah, I would never have thought of the idea of splitting them into separate lines, but it works extremely well. And now it's even easier to service. If we would ever have a problem, we can just fix one line or the other line, which I don't expect any problems because I know you assembled them yourself. But that looks great, man. So while we've got you here, we did buy a couple of elbows and couplers, and we're thinking, you know how to cut things at the right angle and stuff.
Sure.
So maybe you can help us figure out the intake pipe while we're at it. As you can see, we've put on the Elate elbow here to adapt from the supercharger to the throttle body, but we have an issue where when we put this on, it is fouling on the fuel rail right here. So you can see that is as far on as I can go before it hits on the fuel rail. So we're not exactly sure what to do about this. I seem to recall reading on Elate's website about there being a shorter injector option, which would lower the fuel rail. So I've messaged Travis at Elate about that to try to figure out if that's the solution we need. The other option is to put a big spacer in between the elbow and the throttle body, move this out so that it's no longer fouling. Took a measurement here. We think it would be about 1.5 inch thick spacer. That's going to take some time to get made up, obviously, and to find shorter injectors. Also not something I have in my back pocket. So Unfortunately, I think we've hit a bit of an impasse here. We got to wait to hear from Travis at Elate about what the right way to go is on this. So because of this, it's time to send Aaron home because there's no point in having you stick around making a fancy pipe up here for us where we don't know where the throttle body needs to live yet. So,
Yeah.
But we did want to show you guys these really nice tight radius bends that Vibrant makes. And that's going to make this job a lot easier, isn't it?
It will, yeah. We really have a short space between the intake box and the throttle body, so we need to make some really tight bends to make it work.
We've kind of mocked it up already, and we think it is going to work. And of course, Vibrant also makes the couplers we're going to need. So in the end, we're going to have a nice solution for it. But until we figure out where the throttle body is going to live, we can't do this. So bye, Aaron. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate all the help. And
No problem.
If you guys need to make fuel lines or intakes or really anything else fabrication related, vibrantperformance.com. That's where you find the parts, everybody. Well, we've got an update on the throttle body situation. Travis from Elate got back to us very quickly and explained that this elbow has never actually been test fit before with the stock throttle body and the stock fuel rail. The last customer he made one for was running aftermarket injectors and an aftermarket fuel rail, and so this clearance issue wasn't obvious to him. So now that he knows what the issue is, he's actually going to make us a new elbow, which will move the throttle body out the 25 mil that we need here to get it in position so that it's not fouling on the fuel rail. And by the sounds of it, he's going to do that very quickly for us. So thank you, Travis, for that. And in the meantime, we could make up the intake tube based on this position, but we'll just wait until we get the elbow. So I think what we're going to do is move on to tackling a few other things, including figuring out how long a belt we need for the pulley system. And we also had this one other issue that I think was kind of interesting. We had these two vacuum lines, one that went to the old intake manifold and one went to the intake tube. And after doing a bit of research, Pete discovered that these go to the power steering system of all things. They seem to be, there's like a check valve down there, and it seems to determine, basically what happens is, based on the pressure differential between the two lines, it'll bring the idle up when you're putting a lot of steering in, say in a parking situation, so that the idle doesn't drop.
Yeah, it just creates like a leak, an actual air leak, which raises the idle up.
Yeah, which is kind of a clever solution to having, the idle in the right place when you're putting a lot of load in with like tight steering situations in a parking lot. It doesn't seem like a big deal to us though, so I think what we'll do is just cap this off rather than trying to like plumb it in here, which might just get a little bit messy and complicated. So I think we have that sorted just by saying deleted. And so now let's get on to maybe running a string here to see just how long a belt we really need. So as you can see, we've just pulled the factory belt off and we're routing it over the supercharger pulley here. And you can see we've got an interesting issue where the belt is very close to the rad hose here, as well as this coolant line that we routed. We can like zip tie this out of the way quite easily, but the gap here is so tight, you would not want this rubbing a hole in your rad hose. So we're just thinking about ways we can reposition this hose slightly by maybe shortening it a little bit here, pulling it this way, which would give us a bit of clearance. Plus we could maybe slide it off the neck a little bit here to move it out as well. We're just not sure how big a gap we need in there for safety. Before we do that, we're gonna have to swap this one pulley over to the smooth style pulley that Elate Manufacturing does provide. And that's so that we've got, I guess, the correct size. And maybe for the belt system, it's being, I think it's because
It's the opposite side. The one was ribbed.
Yeah.
And we need a smooth one.
Smooth side, right? That's what that's for. So we've been trying to figure out if we can tweak this hose's fitment a bit to clear the belt, but we're just not comfortable with how close the belt's going to be to this hose. And the last thing we want to do is have a situation where we cut this hose. So just so happens, Pete went to the stash and he found this thing. This is a metal flexible rad hose made by G-Sport. This is their G-Flex kit. And look at the plastic on this thing.
Listen, this thing is from like early 2000s. I've had it in the stash for very, very, very long
Look
time.
at the dust on it too, huh?
Like the plastics faded out like a set of old headlights.
Made by Mr. Gasket Group. So probably for like hot rod guys mostly, I would assume. And I guess we're hot rod guys now too, because we are going to use this thing, which has some advantages, doesn't it, Pete? Like you can put really good bends in it, so we'll be able to make the shape we want. And being made of metal, it's going to be a lot less likely to get punctured by a belt. I think the belt will fail before the hose does, and that's a better scenario in terms of like not overheating this motor or hurting this motor. So, and it looks like you just cut it with a hacksaw based on the highly sophisticated image I saw on that box. So I think the first thing we need to do is drain some coolant out of here so we don't make a huge mess when we take this stock hose off. Disconnected this end after draining a bit of coolant, and now we're just going to try to draw some coolant out with our giant German pump here. So
This feels a little bit wrong, like you're pulling something out of the ass end of a vehicle here.
It is
This huge pump.
Yeah.
But that seems to be doing a good job, so hopefully that'll be enough fluid out of there, right?
Let's find out. Well, it turns out we're not hot rodders. We're not using this weird corrugated metal tube after all, because Pete went upstairs and went through his stash looking for actually like ways to adapt the ends to what we have here, and he found a pre-existing piece of rad hose that is actually the perfect shape. We just trimmed maybe a 1/4 inch off lengthwise on the inboard side here, and as you can see, it fits in here beautifully, and we have a big clearance now to the hose. So problem solved. This
Thanks
hose
to the stash.
came off of probably an Evo, or
No, I think it looks like it's a Nissan hose.
a Nissan hose.
But,
Okay.
dude, you cannot ever rip on my stash ever again.
No. Well, I can't, but I will anyway.
Because it's the greatest thing in the world. Like, look what we fixed here.
So we cut the belt and we actually taped a bit of extra belt onto it for extra length off of the BMW. What was this, like the power steering belt or something, Pete?
I think so.
So the
Or
BMW
AC belt.
Well, the BMW's finally coming in handy around here, and it looks like we got the length just about right. So now we can pop this out of here, take an overall measurement of this belt with the add-on piece here, and that'll give us our overall length. Just taking our overall measurement here, and it looks like we're just a hair under 9 feet, or right around 274 millimeters. So what we're going to do is actually order up about 3 or 4 belts that are, you know, in that range, so that we can then fit them on here with the tensioner, because the tensioner is going to take up maybe a 1/2 inch to 1 inch of slack. We don't really know. And that way we'll have a belt here that will fit, and then we'll just return the ones that don't fit. So don't go ordering your belt just yet, everyone. Stay tuned until we take care of that part.
Before we wrap this one, DP, do you see that right there? You see what that is? Do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's just a bit of undercoating, a little bit of light dirt under there. That's all that
Really?
is.
You
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
call that a valve cover leak on your
No, 'cause-
amazing Lexus?
No.
This Toyota engine has the valve cover leak.
No, this isn't a BMW. This
No?
is just a little bit of dirt that maybe leaked from the power steering
But it-
fluid when we were doing things. It's not it couldn't possibly.
It looks like the same type of leak that we found on the BMW. The grime buildup is there. It's the
bit of
same
grime.
color. It's the same consistency. Don't you think? Are we gonna do valve cover gaskets on this thing? or
No,
what?
we're definitely not doing valve covers on this, everyone. That is a very minor issue happening down there, so don't worry about it. And apologies to everyone who stuck around to the very end expecting us to fire this thing up, because we really did think we would get it fired up today, but because of the snafu with the elbow adapter, there's really no way we're going to be able to do that today. So stay tuned for the next episode, where we probably won't be starting this up. We'll probably be doing some other things while we wait for that elbow to show up. So I have some suspension goodies coming, so maybe that's what you'll see in the next episode on this car. And in the meantime, we will of course get back to work on Pete's car, which has many, many leaks. Although I guess not with the new
Not
motor. is there?
anymore.
So
It should
we
be
fixed all
sealed
those
right
leaks.
up.
There's nothing to see here, everyone. Anyway, just a little brake cleaner in there. It'll be all good. So thanks for watching, everyone, and stay tuned for lots more supercharging and gasket fixing.
Now, if you put too much on, are you gonna blow up this motor like I did with the S2000 oil pan?
Nah, don't jinx me like that, PT. I don't think so. I think we're going to be okay. This is not right by the oil pickup.